The land we now call America was soaked in blood before it was ever called home. That the American dream was born from a nightmare, millions silenced, entire civilizations erased, not by aliens, not by monsters, but by men who came with a smile and left behind death. Before there was an America, there was a world, rich, wild, and free. The Aztecs, the Incas, the Cherokee, they didn't need saving. They had their own empires, their own gods, their own laws. And then came the ships, from Spain, from England, from Portugal. They didn't bring peace. They brought crosses and chains. 1492, that's the year everything changed. When Christopher Columbus set sail across the Atlantic, he wasn't discovering a new world. He was entering a world that already existed, one full of life, people, culture, and spirit. But what met him on those shores wasn't empty. It was sacred land, home to over 50 million people. But to the Europeans, they were not seen as people. They were resources, obstacles, targets. At first, there were handshakes, fruit, gifts, open arms. The natives trusted, but behind the smiles were swords. Behind the prayers came plagues. Within the first decades of colonization, over 90% of native populations in some regions were wiped out, not by war, but by disease, smallpox, measles, influenza. It was biological apocalypse. The Spanish came for God, glory, and gold, but what they left behind was genocide. In just 4 years, Hernán Cortés destroyed the Aztec Empire, not with bravery, but with betrayal. He allied with their enemies, brought disease, and when the capital fell, the streets ran red. Temples were torn down, libraries burned, 1,000 years of wisdom lost. In 1607, the English left town. By 1620, the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Rock. History tells us they came seeking freedom, but forgets to mention what they took. Land wasn't bought, it was seized. Entire tribes were removed, or worse. The Pequot massacre of 1637. Hundreds burned alive, women and children hunted like animals. Puritan priests called it God's will, and from that day on, Manifest Destiny began its bloody march westward. By the 18th century, colonization was a business. Land stolen, crops harvested, gold extracted, and the foundation of this growing empire? Slavery. Africans were kidnapped, natives were enslaved, blood built the colonies, and the system protected the powerful. You were taught Columbus discovered America. You were told the Pilgrims and natives had dinner together. You were shown maps, not mass graves. The truth is, America was not founded on freedom, founded on conquest. And the voices of those who lived, loved, and died here first were erased from the story. The land we walk on still whispers with the names of those who were lost. Reservations replaced nations, casinos replaced cities, and we call it progress. But this isn't just history. This is still happening. Cultures forgotten, languages gone, trauma passed down. Because history isn't just about the past, it's about what we choose to remember. And if we only remember the conquerors, then we become them. But if we remember the people, if we honor their stories, maybe we can break the cycle. They called it discovery. We call it what it really was: invasion, theft, and the greatest lie ever told. If this truth moved you, don't let it die here. Share it. Speak it. Never forget it.